Hello everyone, Ram here. In my last video, we have set up our development environment on SAP BTP trial account, free trial account, where we have created account and sub account. Inside the sub account, we have created the instances, and in that instance, we have one of the instance called ABAP environment, and we have registered for that ABAP environment, and we got the key, and using that key inside the Eclipse, we have accessed that particular system and we created the simple package. That the steps we have done in my last video. If you didn't watch that video, please watch that video before coming to this one. Or if you have already ready system, then no need to worry. And another thing, this is if you have BTP trial account. If you don't have BTP trial account and if you have on-premise system and if you want to work in your on-premise system instead of utilizing that free trial account, you can directly develop your all the application there as well, but your version should be 2020 and above, most preferably 2021. Then you will able to practice all the concepts of RESTful application programming. We are going to use different data model in this particular course. Apart from the flight data model, we will going to create the sales order application, employee application, might be some other application as well, but I didn't decide it till now. But since we are using the trial account, all the data already available for the flight data model, so we are going to start with the flight data model, and we will try to learn the simple concept and complex concepts as well using that. Apart from that, when we start with on-premise system, I will develop some of the application in on-premise system as well to show you how to utilize that. There also will create some sales order application, purchase order, and some other application, custom application, to be real kind of feeling, to get the real kind of feeling, we can say. To start with this particular flight reference scenario, if you see the trial account, you have already this tables on your BTP trial account, and these tables will be having the data. If you try to search VBAK, VBAP, those tables are not available, since that is the platform as a service. Just you have to develop your application there. Those tables will be not only the few tables will be available, which is also very master data table, like the currency tables. On those tables will be available, not your transactional table that you have to access from your on-premise system also, or either you're from on-premise system or private cloud, public cloud, whatever you're using, that you have to do. But for practice purpose, we have this demo scenario already ready there. These tables are available there. So out of these tables, just I want to give you some preview of those tables. Suppose this agency, customer, flight, connection, carrier, airport, and this supplement. These are the master data tables, which will be having the detail of agency, the agency table, customer detail in the customer table, flight detail in the flight table, connection detail in connection table, carrier means what the information about your flight, means your aeroplane, that will be having in the carrier table. Airport related information will be available in the airport table, and the supplements, what all are the supplements, like what all are the services available in your when you're doing the going from one place to another place inside the flight, those supplements also will be available in this supplement master data table. Apart from these master data tables, we will be having this transactional table. In this transactional table, where the travel information will be there for that particular travel. There can be multiple bookings, and for those bookings there can be multiple supplements can be there. So these are the three transactional tables are there, which will be linked to your master data tables. So this is our basic idea about your particular data model, if you are not aware about the flight data model. So this will be very important, because if we don't understand this one, then we are not able to understand what actually we are going to develop. So that's very important. We should know what is this table and what is the information this table is giving. That is the reason I just want to give you some preview about this particular data model. Suppose you are working on premise system, these tables will be not available, because if these are the part of your on-premise system, it will be not available. In either it will be available on 2020 or 2021. You have to follow some steps. You have to go in that particular GitHub link Once you open this GitHub link, agree and proceed. What you have to do, you just have to come down and you can see based on your version, you have to click on your readme file. Suppose your version is 2020 or 2021. Suppose your version is 2021. You can develop the RAP application 2019 also, but that is not that all the things are not available. You will not able to practice properly. But practice purpose, if you have system, and then you can just start there as well. There is no need to worry. You have to follow these all the steps to installation, and once you follow these all the steps, you will be having these tables with the data in your system, and you can practice on top of that. I will try to create another video to utilize this to follow this step when we start with the on-premises. As of now, I don't have on-premises. So once I will buy or purchase from some third-party vendor, I will try to show you all the steps in the system itself. Let's come to our PPT. So one of the most important things, this namespace which is starting with the DMO, this is reserved for the demo content. We should not utilize this to develop our object. Our object we should start with Z or Y, whatever your convenient. So that's a very important thing. Why I want to utilize this particular existing data model? Because all the tables in the BTP trial account is already available. The data is already filled and no need to create tables. For example, I would have shown you sales order. I have to create GVBAK, ZVBAP. Then I have to fill with the data. Then combine those data and those kind of things we have to do. It will little bit take effort. I will try to do that as well. Better why to that is not a real-time scenario. Always this VBAP system, either it will be available on your private or public cloud, or it will be on your on-premise system that you have to develop fetch from there, and then that you have to utilize in your BTP trial account. That is the real way that we will try to do when we are doing on the on-premise system. We should not create GVBAK and ZVBAP. That is no use. That's not the correct way. But for the demo purpose, already we have the tables are available. We want to understand first the concept, then we go further. So that is the reason we are utilizing this one. Obviously, we will start with the simple list report, where obviously we will follow the RAP architecture. We will start with data modeling, then business service provisioning and service consumption. The first step, let's start with data modeling. In the data modeling, so we have to develop the data model. So we start with the data modeling. Let's jump into the system and see these tables available in the system and start with our first development. In my last video, we have set up our ABAP development environment on BTP trial account, and that we have linked in the Eclipse as well. And we have created the package called Technomaniac. As I told you, in this trial account, all the flight data tables already available. To see those tables, you can go to this particular package called DMO Flight Legacy package. You can open it up, and inside this we have the dictionaries. Inside that we have a lot of tables are there. Those tables you can see already available: airport master data table, booking, transactional table, connection table, and all other tables are there. Not only these tables are available, but also the data in these tables also available. You just click on the connection table, which we are going to utilize in this particular video. So you can see the connection table, what all are the details we are having, from which airport it is going, to which airport it is going, what is the distance between them, what is the departure time, what is the arrival time. This kind of information is available in this particular connection table. If you want to see the data, just you have to click on F8 and you can see the data available in this particular table. What we are going to do, we are going to build simple list report. Just we want to display this particular entire data in the list report of the Fiori. To do that, as I told you, we start with the data model. We will directly not use the table. We will create the basic data model. To create the data model, we will use always the CDS in RAP model. To create the CDS on top of this particular table, just you have to right click on that particular table and click on new data definition. Or what you can do, you can click on your package and there also you can create better I will use this particular new data definition. As I told you, you should not use this particular package or this particular extension to create your new object. You have to use your own package. So let me go with my own package, G Technomaniac, which we have created in last video. Let me go with G Techno, control space you can do, Maniac, you can see that coming, and you have to start your development object with Z. Since we are creating I already have the name, you can see, since we are creating the Z objects and we have to indicate this is the interface CDS view. This is the first layer of the CDS view which we are going to create, and we have to give some meaningful name since it is related to connection table. So we have given the connection, and at last I just to recognize which I have created, that is the reason I given the Technomaniac, or you can give your other name as well, and you just have to give the description. Connection table or connection view CDS data model, you can give like this. Your reference object is this one, and click on next button. Already this package is favorite package, no need to worry, otherwise you have to select this one, it will add this package to favorite package. Click on next button. It will ask for the TR. To select the particular TR, I have already created one TR, otherwise you click on create new TR and you can create the TR. All objects of SAP Technomaniac like that, and click on next button. Here you have to select the template. Again, you can create DDIC based CDS view or CDS view entities, but DDIC based CDS view, you can see it already absolute is 7.57. This is the latest version. So we have to create defined view entity. So what is the difference between this defined view and defined view entity, or we can say DDIC based CDS view or CDS view entities? I have already created that video in the CDS playlist, which is freely available on this particular channel. You can watch it out there. Just click on finish button. Once you create this particular CDS view, all the fields are already available here. Why all the fields are available? Because we right click on that particular table, then we have created. Otherwise we have to write this particular entity name already came, we have to write this particular select from this table, and we have to give this all the detail. But in this case we no need to give any detail, it came automatically because we have created using the wizard. Just right click and create it on top of that. This all the annotation I have again explained in my CDS series. If you don't know any of this annotation, you can watch out that particular series. So just we have created one simple CDS entity on top of this table. We are getting all the fields. What I can do, Shift F1 you can do to format little bit this code and select from this table as connections. I can give some alias name is connection and let it be other things. And since we are using one table only, we no need to use this connection dot carrier ID, connection dot connection ID. If you want to use, that is fine. If you are using multiple table, then you have to use. Let me activate again, Control F3, and let me see the data, how the data look like. It's not activated. Let it activate first. Oh, it got activated now. Let me do F8. You can see the data, same data which is coming from that table, same data you can see over here. We have to establish the relationship between the semantically dependent element. What is the advantage of doing that? First, we have to understand what is the semantically dependent element. For example, we have the amount. For that amount, obviously there should be some currency. In same way, we have in our case, we have the distance field. That is distance, and for that distance, obviously there will be some unit of measure field for that particular distance. It is kilometer or meter or yard, how you want to measure that particular distance. So these are the two different fields, but they are related field or semantically related field, we can say. So we have to establish the relationship between that. We will do this relationship establishment using the annotation, CDS annotation. Most probably you already know from this particular annotation from my CDSU series if you already watch, but @semantic is the annotation we have to use. But what is the advantage of using that? When we use this particular annotations, first thing in the metadata file of the OData, we will see that relationship we can easily see. For example, whenever the amount will be displayed along with that amount tag, we can see that what is the unit of measurement for this particular amount field in the one line itself. The relationship we can say if we have multiple unit of measurement for this amount, what is the unit of measurement field. Not only that, when we display those things in the UI side, those amount and amount currency, distance and distance, those will be displayed together. Not only displayed together, but also in the appropriate format. For example, one country amount displayed decimal in using the dot, in another country they are using the comma, depending on the another currency. So based on the currency, automatically it will be converted in the front end. That is the advantage of the establishing the relationship between the semantically dependent elements. So that is very important, that we have to do in this layer itself, because that is the technical thing. We should not do in another layer. We will do these kind of things in the technical layers. Once we created, we already created the interface view. Obviously I didn't create it, the consumption view that we have to create in the business service provisioning layer, but in this case we are not going to create the consumption view, just to simplify the things. Otherwise I will fetch another all the fields and I create that C connection field and we can use, but just we will use this field only, but we will create the service definition and the service binding. Before doing that, let's establish the distance relationship between the distance and distance unit. As I told you, we have to tell this particular distance what is the unit of measurement for particular distance using the semantic. So we have to use, close this one, we have to use semantic, and you can use the control space and enter dot. This semantics for quantity field, so I have to use quantity, and I want to define for this distance what is the unit of measurement, so that we can define using this annotation. And in this case, control C, control V, this is the unit of measurement, and like this we can display the relation, we can establish the relation between the distance and distance unit. Once it is done, let me activate this one, control F3. We done with our interface view. We can create the consumption view. I'm not creating for the simplification sake, and what I want to create now, on top of this I want to create the service definition. Why we create the service definition? If you know from the architecture video, just to define what all are the CDS entities we want to consume in that particular service or data service. To do that, what you can do, just right click on this particular your CDSU and you can create the new service. Second, new service definition. You have to give the appropriate name, obviously. So in this case, I will give G. I can give G Flight RAM, that is also fine, or G Flight Technomaniac is very appropriate name, Technomaniac, or you have to use your, and you can give some description, flight service, and just click on next button, appropriate TR, next button, and this is the default define service, finish template. So in this is very simple thing are there, just we have to use the service. First annotation will give the what is the description of that particular service, that is flight service, and the define service, we have to use the define service and give the service name, and what all are the entities you want to expose, you have to give here. In this case only we have one entity, so that is the reason we have given this particular one entity. Let me activate this one, control F3. To create the service definition, we will be needing this all the CDS entities. Obviously, if you don't have the CDS entities, you can't create the service. Once you have created the service, we have to create the service binding. To create the service binding, you have to right click on your service and create new service binding. As soon as you click on new service binding, you have to give the service binding name. The most important thing is the naming convention. So whenever we create the service binding, we have to choose this service binding type. It is mandatory. Why you are creating this particular service? You want to consume in the UI. In this case, we want to consume in this UI. We want to create the list report application, simple list report application. So either we can choose V2 UI or V4 UI. In this case, we just need the V2 UI. We will going to choose. Otherwise, if you are creating the service which can be consumed by other web application, you can use the V2 Web API as well, and or you can create for the SQL purpose or INA services purpose. Depend on the what purpose you are creating, you have to choose appropriate binding type. That is very important. In this case, I will choose OData V2 UI, and the same should be reflected in your service name as well. So in this case, I'm creating for the UI purpose, so I should use ZUI. If you are creating for the web purpose, then you should use ZWeb underscore, and then what is the description of that particular binding, that you have to give some flight, and then you can use RAM. I have used, in this case I will use Technomaniac, and what is the version of your particular service that you have to give here. And then you have to give some service description. Service binding for flight, I can give this one, that is correct, and you can click on next button. So this is the mandatory field. If I don't define the service binding, it will not accept, it will not create the service binding. And for creating the service binding, again you should have service definition. If you don't have service definition, you can't create the independently service binding. So this is our service binding. Click on next button, choose the appropriate TR and click on finish button. The service binding is got created. There are different part over here. You can see service binding, it is showing OData V2 UI. Once you have created, you can't change this particular service binding type. That's very important. And you can create for particular service, you can create multiple service binding as well, as I told you in my architecture video, one-to-one relationship that you can create. We will see in upcoming video how we can do. Versioning, you can have different version of this particular service based on your requirement. As of now, we have the initial version, and second is the API state. Your service is released, what is the contract, C0 type, C1, C2, that I will create one separate video. What all are this contract type. As of now, we will just understand in the SAP, older SAP, how we usually see this particular function module is released or not, we can use or not this for our production purpose. So those kind of API state we have to give here. And the most important thing, once you have done this one, then you have to activate your service binding. Control F3 I will click, it will activate this particular service binding. Once you activate this one, we have to publish this particular service. As of now, you can see the local service endpoint is unpublished, and we have to click on publish. It will publish this particular service, and we will click on the publish button. As soon as you click on this publish button, you will be having the service information over here, where you can see all the CDS entities or over here which you can access, and you can preview your application here itself. So it is taking little bit time to do that. So you can see it is finally published, and we can see we have only one entity over here, entity set over here, GINS connection Technomaniac. I want to see the service URL. You can click on the service URL button. It will show you the what is the service URL for this particular service. Let me click on service URL button. it will show me the service. This is the same OData service which we have seen in our OData video series. We can see what all are the entities are available in this one which we can access to particular service. So as of now, in our case, we have that connections service. You can see GI connection Technomaniac. So this is the service we can access. Apart from this, we have other different collections as well. That is generated by the SADL framework, because we have chosen that we want to create a UI service. So you can see different services are there to format the data, to display in the PDF things. Those all things we can see. I want to see the metadata of this particular service. You know, from my OData service, just we have to click service name / $metadata we have to give $metadata, and we can see the metadata of this particular service is here. In the metadata, you can see this is our CDS view name of your entity name or entity type name, and this entity type, these are the two key properties, and there are other properties. And as I told you, since we have established the relationship between the distance and distance unit, you can see the label. Apart from the label, what is the unit for this particular distance that we can see in SAP unit. That is this is coming because we have established the relationship between the distance and distance unit. And the same way, you can see the semantic information here. Unit of measure, this is particular field indicating the unit of measure. So that is coming due to we have established the relationship. If we would have not established the relationship, this and this annotation would have not come. Apart from this entity type, we have another entity type also, SAP currency, SAP unit of measurement, document description, format, PDF standard, table. These are the useful for the front end UI2 we have chosen, because we want to download the data from the Excel in form of the PDF once it is displayed in the list form. That is the reason those entity type automatically created. And we have the entity set name also. Once we have all the entity types, at the end we have in the entity container we should have the entity set name also. You can see these are the entity set. Our entity set is the GI connection Technomaniac. I can access this OData service and I can see all the things which if you don't know how to read this particular document and what all are the things we can do with this one, you can watch out my OData series. This is all about my metadata file. We have accessed the metadata file. Now I want to see the preview of my application, how it will be look like in front end. Do I have to create the vast application? No, we don't need to create. There is, as I told you in my architecture video, we have inbuilt preview application. We just select and right click and just open Fiori Elements app preview, or you just click on preview. It will automatically preview your application over here in the Fiori application preview. What all are the fields? Obviously, currently we have didn't selected. We have to select the field. What all are the field you want to display? Just I selected all and click on OK, and you have to click on Go button. You can see the data, the list report, simple list report. You can see I don't have obviously header. I didn't announce anything. But one more thing, we have used that annotation. If you remember, due to that we have the only one field, flight distance. We don't have separate field, flight distance and flight distance of unit. So both are linked together and displayed. This is the one advantage. Apart from that, we can download this data. Export is Excel. We want to download, or if you want to download this data in form of PDF, that also you can do. That is these inbuilt features, how it is coming, because our SADL framework working to generate these features, and due to that we can see this particular other entity sets working on all the things. We don't need to worry, just we have to worry about our CDS entity which we have created. If there is some problem, this is the custom CDS entity. If you have multiple entity sets, you can see over here. Now we will enhance this application with UI annotations. That we will gonna do in my next video. Before going to that video, please like this video, share these videos with others as well. With that, thank you and happy learning.